The Wildcat Sports Club CNY Brewfest is coming up January 31st and February 1st at the New York State Fairgrounds. Taste your way through unlimited samples from more than 100 breweries. Now featuring hard ciders, seltzers, craft cocktails, and mocktails too. Grab your tickets now at cnybrewfest.com.
Casting live from the campus of Syracuse University, this is Newhouse Afternoon.
Welcome to ESPN 97.7 Newhouse Afternoon. I'm Matt Lesnick alongside Izzy Sky, Brooke Kilgore. It's good to be back, guys.
Yeah, good to be back after a bit of a long layoff, but excited to talk about some sports today. And so we're going to start off with Syracuse men's basketball, unfortunately, but I'll let you take it from here, Matt.
All right, yeah, so Syracuse men's basketball, Saturday, 77-73 loss at home against Pitt. They started hot, and it just kind of went off the rails from there.
Yeah, and that's just been a theme for the Syracuse team all season. And, you know, in the first half, they got a lead into halftime, a 1-point lead. And then just down the stretch, they just weren't able to execute. And Pittsburgh was able to take advantage. I mean, Ishmael Leggett, he had 16 points. Talon Lowe had 22 points. And, you know, it's just a theme for Syracuse. They haven't been able to contain dynamic guards. And, you know, Lowe and Leggett did it. Marcus Burton in the first half against Notre Dame a couple games ago did the same thing. So defense has really been a problem for the Orange, and again, it showed. They gave up 45 points in the second half.
Definitely. Something to point out, though, a lot of people going into this game knew that Pitt was going to be a big line. Most of those guys, I'm thinking the shortest is probably somewhere between 5'9", 5'10". These guys were going to put up a big fight. But one positive for the Orange, Eddie Lampkin, who's also a very tall man, career high 23 rebounds, now has 70 overall this season. He had his 10 points to notch his fifth double-double in the last 6 games. What did you guys see from him?
I mean, I saw what I'm usually seeing. He's a big body. He's going to be physical, but I feel like he obviously gets a lot of rebounds, but I feel like on the offensive side, I mean, there's still just not a lot of touch around the rim, and that kind of cost the Orange in some spots. Yeah,
he was only 4 of 9 from the field, 2 of 5 from the free throw line, and he struggled a little bit at times at the rim this season. But I'm not just looking at Eddie Lampkin. I mean, yeah, he had a great game against Pittsburgh, but Chris Bell, he had 4 3-pointers, and he's been really up and down for most of the season. I honestly expected more from him. I expected him to, you know, be that, you know, second or third guy behind J.J. Starling, but it just seems it's like a revolving door between Eddie Lampkin. Some games it's Jair Davis, Kyle Cuff off the bench. Like, there's no clear-cut second go-to guy on this team, and they're just not consistent enough.
Definitely, and you see that a lot with when J.J. Starling went out for a couple of games there, and we're seeing that a little bit more with Donnie Freeman now out for...
Donnie's been out, so that's a big part of it.
Yeah, definitely, but yeah, Chris Bell, I feel like he just came out of the revolving doors. We didn't really see him coming, and he did put up a relatively good performance, but he's only shooting 39% from the field at the moment, and, you know, the team does have very low amounts of three-pointers from downtown at the moment. Chris Bell recording around 30% so far, so yeah, interesting to see him kind of come up and shine. J.J. Starling, though, in that game, you know, producing points, making plays, but it brings the question of, as you said, Izzy, they can't really produce without JJ leading the way.
Yeah, and, you know, they've been really, really reliant on JJ Starling and Donnie Freeman before he went down. But going back to your shooting point, as a team, Syracuse is only shooting 31% from three. And we knew coming into the year that would be an issue, but we expected guys like Chris Bell, Elijah Moore, you know, to pick up the slack. But Elijah Moore's only 29% from three. As you mentioned, Chris Bell's only 31% from three. JJ Starling's 31% from three. You know, they just haven't gotten that consistent guy that can knock down shots from downtown. And, you know, as a team, it's suffered, and it's really hurt their offensive spacing because now teams are just going to pack the paint and dare these Syracuse guys to shoot, and that's just not a recipe for success. And this team, given the high expectations that we had with the transfers, the recruiting class, and, you know, all of those things, they just haven't panned out, and the shooting is a big reason why.
And one thing I'll speak to that also, it doesn't help. It doesn't feel like there's an offensive game plan.
Never.
It's a lot of just, from what I'm seeing, just a lot of setting screens and shot chucking. And that's just what this team has been all season, and the record shows. I mean, you've lost a lot of games because you don't have that consistent game plan, and there's a lot of times where the offense just kind of looks unaware of what's going on.
Yep.
Yeah, and, you know, that just goes back to our point. It's just, you know, J.J. Starling, please save us. That's basically what the offense has become. And, you know, when Donnie Freeman comes back, hopefully within the next couple of weeks here, maybe that'll be a little bit better. But you bring up a great point that, you know, the offense, it seems a little stale. It seems a little stagnant. But also, what can they do? Because at the end of the day, it's about the personnel that you have.
Yep.
And the guys that they're playing, they're top 8 guys. I can't name one guy that I will trust 10 or 9 or 8, at least 8 times out of 10 to knock down an open three-pointer. So they're creating looks. They're just not knocking them down at the end of the day.
Something that I'm noticing, and I'm seeing this across the board with Syracuse sports, is they always tend to either struggle in the first half of a matchup or take an early lead and then just completely give it up. I mean, this Pittsburgh game, Syracuse had that early 15-7 advantage. They made a lot of their attempts from the field, and then after that, it was just a lot of back and forth nails on that entire game. And then once the Panthers got themselves rolling, it was clearly going to be a Pitt game. And then those last couple of plays, yes, you're setting up a couple free throws, you're making your shots, and you're getting it close with margin. But if you're not going to make that last attempt from the field, you have nothing to do, and they just let the Pitt game slip by.
Yeah, and again, as we said earlier, they just didn't execute down the stretch, and that's hurt them in some games this season. But looking ahead, they play Stanford tomorrow night. They're doing the little Cali road trip, which is I'm still getting used to it for the ACC.
Conference.
Yeah, exactly. So they're doing They got Stanford tomorrow night, and then they got Cal on Saturday. And Stanford, they've been one of the bigger surprises in the country this season. They're 14-6, 6-3 in the ACC. Jalen Blake's the transfer from Duke. I mean, I'm starting to think that he should have transferred earlier because he's been really, really good for the Stanford team, averaging about 15 points per game. So it's going to be a tougher matchup for Syracuse because they haven't been able to really contain dynamic guards that score a lot of points. They haven't really done that for the past month, really. So I'm expecting a big game from Blake's unless Syracuse can make those adjustments and really tune in defensively.
Yeah, something I'm also noticing is Maxime Reynaud. He's going to be the biggest threat for the Orange as well, on top of what you just said. Forward for Stanford, he's actually a Paris native. He's leading the ACC currently in scoring and rebounding. 16 double-doubles this season to help kind of pace the nation out. Nobody is really coming close to him. No other player in the country has more than 14, and no other major conference player has more than 11 this season. So like you just said, Izzy, they're really going to have to work hard to contain the guard, but are they actually going to come up with a game plan?
Yeah, and look, right now he's been really, really good throughout the season, but Syracuse's front court has been a strength in recent games. Lampkin's played a little better. Jair Davis has an insane motor. The guy plays hard no matter what. So we have a lot to throw at him. But my concern is, again, going to go back to the guards, Blakes and Sellers. Sellers, he's shooting 43% from three, 50% from the field. He's one of the more efficient guards in the ACC. So really containing that backcourt of Blakes and Sellers is a key to the game, in my opinion, for Syracuse. And obviously on the offensive side, just continue to create open shots. And at the end of the day, the only way that they're going to get out of this offensive funk is just trusting and believing in each other. And, I feel like that's, and going back to your point about the game plan and stuff like that, yeah, that'll help. But at the end of the day, you just need to continue to trust your teammates that they'll knock down those shots because they're creating looks. They just need to knock them down because 31% is just not going to cut it.
It's not like we haven't seen them hit these shots in the past. I mean, Chris Bell last season was a great shooter and provided a real spark plug for the Orange. It's just you get these ruts.
Yeah,
it happens.
Yeah, so that's the key to game for Syracuse against Stanford. It's going to be a tough matchup on the road. First time going to Stanford, I believe, ever.
Syracuse is 1-0 against Stanford all time, and that was back in 2011. That was a neutral site game in New York City.
Yeah, so we'll see if Syracuse can get acclimated to the West Coast time. It's going to 11 p.m. start time on the East Coast, so we'll see if Coach Autry has his guys ready.
Yeah. But we'll take a quick break, but coming back, we're going to discuss some women's basketball, snapping a 3-game losing streak. So stick with us on ESPN 97.7, Newhouse Afternoon. Good now? It's all good.
Is everybody else good? Yeah. Okay.
I can, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm hearing it.
Yeah, I can hear.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, all good. Mm-hmm. At least the women got a win. Oh no.
Yeah.
on Saturday.
Finally.
Yeah, they're.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of expected this, though, unfortunately.
It's another J.J. Starling kind of thing. Rely too much on one shooter.
Exactly.
What are you going to do?
I don't even think it's that. It's just like, I don't know. I mean, it kind of is, but it kind of isn't. They can't shoot, too, so that's part of it. But
Yeah.
But yeah.
28% from the field against Boston College.
Yeah.
20% from downtown. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Did relatively well on free throws.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I feel like if you can't make your free throws, that's something on you. It's like
Yeah,
volleyball.
exactly.
The serve is the only thing you can really control.
Exactly. That was another thing we didn't mention for the men's team, though. They've not shot from the free throw line well either. Like,
yeah, they're 68%, I think, or something like that. Yeah, just shooting, like, it seems like it's an allergy for the team or something.
For Syracuse in general.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe it's something in the water. I mean, I don't know.
But yeah, lost 6 out of 8.
Yeah, I mean, the ACC's tough.
Yeah.
For the women right now.
Yeah.
Notre Dame, Duke, NC State, Louisville, Cal's pretty good. Yeah, I think the entire 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. The entire top 9's above 500 in conference play, and then Clemson's like 4 and 6, and then we're 2 and 7, 8 and 12 overall.
Barely holding on.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we knew this would happen with Diaja leaving, so not a lot of.
Yeah, but not that.
I wasn't expecting it to be this bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think what you're thinking of, Izzy, is what people are expecting for football next year, but not to this caliber.
I think football will be fine.
I'll say, like, for football, we'll go over it, but
yeah,
I'm not really expecting a lot.
I mean, the home schedule's not that bad.
Home schedule's not that bad, but God, that
need
road schedule is.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't see the road.
It's bad.
We go to SMU. I remember that.
Go to Notre Dame.
We go to Notre Dame. Oh, jeez.
No, we go to Notre Dame, damn.
We go to Notre Dame, SMU, Clemson.
Georgia Tech.
Yeah.
Or Miami as well.
Yeah, we got Tennessee to open the season, too. Yeah. Damn. Go to Miami. Actually, that'll be a tough game. I'm not a Carson Beck believer, though, so.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah, so we'll see. I don't know. Hopefully they get someone in the spring transfer portal for like quarterback, because right now we only have Collins, right? And did we get somebody else or no?
I'm not sure.
I don't think we got anybody else. I think he's the only guy.
100.7 and 100.1. Watch live on QSportsTalk.com. Tomorrow's broadcasting stars today. Broadcasting live from the campus of Syracuse University. This is Newhouse Afternoon.
Welcome back to ESPN 97.7 Newhouse Afternoon. Matt Lesnick, Brooke Kilgore, Izzy Tsai. Syracuse women's basketball snapping a 3-game losing streak against the Clemson Tigers in South Carolina. Just an overall, first off, very strong second half.
Yeah, very strong fourth quarter. They outscored the Tigers 25-8, and the defensive intensity I really, really liked from the Orange. And I think one thing that they found that could be a potential formula for success is really leaning on their front court of Kyra Wood and Isabel Verjao. Mm-hmm. They combined for 23 rebounds and 32 points. They were sensational. They combined for 7 offensive rebounds as well. They were really giving Clemson trouble on the glass. And Syracuse, they were able to, have their way in the paint, and I think that's a formula for success for them.
Yeah, no, definitely. Something also to point out coming out of that BC game. Georgia Woolley went down with illness, and we saw a lot of the effects there. Losing by its biggest point deficit. They really did feel her absence. Sophie Burrows, of course, did step up into her place and led the team with 15 points, 8 rebounds. And we come back here and we're looking at Georgia Woolley, 13 points. Made 3 from the field, 1 3-pointer. Wasn't really promoting too much, but I feel like I have to ask you guys. We talked about JJ Starling kind of leading the team, and people are relying on him heavily. Would you say Georgia Woolley has kind of stepped up in place of Deasia Fair and is the new rock that the team really relies on?
She's been up and down for most of the season, but before the illness, she was starting to figure it out a little bit, and then she came off the bench actually against the Clemson Tigers, and Syracuse was able to win the game. I'm not saying bring her off the bench for the rest of the season, but going with these bigger lineups, I feel like is something that they have to look at moving. That's something Coach Jack has to look at moving forward, because Wood and Verjao, in my opinion, they have a lot of talent. Like they know how to crash the glass, they know how to play defense, they're willing to do the dirty work. So having two people that you can rely on to do that, I feel like it's a formula for success for them.
I agree. I mean, we saw it in this game in particular. You had mentioned they were getting a lot of open looks down low, and that's what really fueled a lot of the runs that they had. And Syracuse on the season has not shot well from beyond the arc. However, they didn't clearly.
It's a theme for the basketball teams around here.
Yeah,
seriously.
But they really weren't that bad. This time around, 6 for 16, nearly 40% from 3. So if they can just at some point just get going, we can see the effects of it.
Yeah, exactly. And they're not going to be a high volume 3-point shooting team. That's just that they don't have the personnel for that on this squad. But it's about knocking down the looks that you get. 6 of 16, that's not terrible. So, knocking those down is very, very important for them. But yeah, it's been a tough go for them for the season. They're 2-7 in conference play. The ACC is really, really tough. 9 teams with at least 5 conference wins. So Syracuse is lagging behind a little bit. So to finish this last month or so of the season out, what are you guys looking for from this Syracuse women's team?
Ooh. Definitely utilizing more of their bench players. I mean, we saw freshman Madeline Potts came in and her first career start.
Yeah, she had a career day.
She had a career day, previously averaging 3.2 points per game. She scored 13 off of 4 and 9 shooting, 3 3-pointers, and a perfect 2 of 2 from the charity stripe. Of course, you always want to make those free throws, so celebrating that. But she's really proving herself. She's kind of all around. She grabbed 5 boards, all defensive, by the way, and also had an assist with 35 minutes on the court. I really want to see them start utilizing more of these bench players. You're clearly trying to get out of your rut still of trying to fill Deasia's spot. You've got Kyra Wood and Isabel Verjao. Verjao also had a career high day in points and rebounds, 16 and 12. But the more you can work around and utilize these players, you can tell the formula is working when they do get their opportunity to step on the court. So definitely utilize a little bit more of those bench players and have trust in them. Yeah,
and like you going back to Potts, that was a career high for her in minutes, career high for her in points. She came in averaging, I believe, 10 minutes per game. So, continuing to give her reps, because you're going to be relying upon her next year and the year after that, because she's only a freshman, so she's going to be a main contributor for you. So seeing what you have there is very, very important. But yeah, one thing that I'm looking for, let's see if Wood and Verjao can continue to put these good games together. Sophie Burrows as well, and obviously Georgia Woolley. So the players of the team that have been there the longest, I want to see them finish their career strong.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I'm going back to the depth thing. I mean, you look at yesterday, 10 girls played. Only there was 3 on your bench who had less than 10 minutes played.
Yeah.
So if you're gonna need to give the most important players a little bit of rest. I mean, Georgia Woolley off the bench, coming off an illness. I mean, she played last game, but 35 minutes. Yeah. And she didn't have her best game, 3 of 13. So you need to be able to trust and utilize those players off your bench.
Yeah, and to end the season, Syracuse, the schedule gets a little easier to for these next few games. You have Virginia, then Virginia Tech, then Wake Forest. Virginia, they're 3-6 in ACC play. Wake Forest is at the bottom of the conference at 1-8. But Virginia Tech will be a bit of a tougher matchup. But 2 of your next 3 games, you have an opportunity to get wins, get to 4 wins in conference play, and then 3 games to end the year. 3 other games to end the year. It's an absolute gauntlet. You have Cal, you have North Carolina, you have Duke, and 2 of those games are on the road. So seeing how they do against top tier competition is also important, because they haven't really done a good job of that this season. They got blown out against Notre Dame by 30 plus. They lost by double digits to Maryland. They lost by double digits to Georgia Tech. So they're just they haven't been able to really can, keep up with these top teams. But that's something that I'm looking for.
Yeah, definitely. And also, I want to point out, this is their first road win since February of 2024. Something is clicking. Something is working. I mean, taking a look back at their schedule, they lost to Texas A&M 57-45. They lost to Binghamton. They lost to Georgia Tech. They lost to it just felt like it kept going. A list, especially after we saw how they ended last season. To see that statistic and go, it's been since February, is mind-blowing to me. So I know it's really late in the season. We're about to see a couple really top-ranked matchups, especially in Cal, and we'll have to see how these teams play out with the time difference, considering those games are going to be a lot later in the day for them. We're just really going to have to see if this is maybe a late time switch, and maybe Felicia Leggett-Jack is kind of finding her squad, and her squad is starting to gel towards the end of the season. Of course, it's unfortunate because you never want that to really happen so late when your record's already kind of decided and your postseason is basically gone at this point, but it could be a good start, especially with Potts starting to come up, Kyra and Verajao really working together. Maybe this is the start that they really need.
What that would do is just, it wouldn't set anything for this season, but going into next season, you have a lot of momentum and a lot of just ability to make a switch, and hopefully that can lead to some just positive performance for next season.
Yeah, just any positive momentum that you can get out of the end of the year. I feel like that's the most important thing.
Definitely.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll see what the Orange can do the rest of the season. Coming up this Sunday, they'll play Virginia at the Dome. UVA this season is they've lost 4 of their last 5. They are 11-10, 3-6 in the ACC. So it's going to be, I would say, a close matchup there.
Yeah, and UVA, they have some solid players. Kamora Johnson, she's averaging 18 points per game, 46% from the field, almost 40% from three-point range. So how the Orange are going to contain her, that's a big key. Latasha Lattimore as well, really big on the glass for them. 9 rebounds per game, leads the team. So again, going back to the front court, how are they going to win their matchups? I feel like with Johnson, the backcourt, they're going to have to win that matchup, and the front court, they're going to have to win that matchup with Lattimore. So being able to do that, relying upon each other, because it's not just going to take one player to contain those two. It's going to take a team effort. So that's the key that I'm looking for.
Well, yeah, and take a look back at their schedule. I mean, yes, they did lose to the third-ranked team, Notre Dame, 95-54 back in December, but number 21, NC State, 73-68, and you're just saying Lattimore with 21 points that game. They are keeping it within close margins of these ranked opponents. They just played Duke, only lost by 15, so this is going to be definitely a matchup. Yes, again, the point margin may be a little different, but they can keep up with these bigger teams. But can Syracuse find that momentum and stay with this new Virginia team?
Yeah, Virginia, they've had a similar issue to Syracuse, albeit on a much lesser scale. They haven't really been able to beat those elite teams, as you mentioned. They lost 2 ranked games in a row to NC State and Georgia Tech, and they were really in those games for most of it. Outside of the Georgia Tech game, Georgia Tech was able to pull away at the end. But UVA is a very solid ACC team, so this will be a tougher matchup for Syracuse. And let's see if they can continue to build on that momentum after the Clemson win. See if they can beat Virginia.
Yeah. We'll see how that goes, but we're going to take a quick break. Before we do, this hour of Newhouse Afternoon is powered by Drivers Village. Cicero, go to dvoffers.com for more. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit about some NFL, the Super Bowl. Stick with us on ESPN 97.7, Newhouse Afternoon.
The Sports Show with...
All right.
Do we have any comments yet? People tuning in.
Do not.
Dang.
Yay? Did you say yay?
I said dang.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wow. The Mercury got Alyssa Thomas from the Sun.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, dang. Wow. It's like the second big trade in like the past 4 days.
Yeah, I mean, it was...
Yeah, Jewel Lloyd went to the Aces. Plum
Kelsey
went to
Plum,
to the Sparks, yeah. Dang. NFL football.
I cannot watch Saquon Barkley win a Super Bowl.
Your nightmare is about to come true.
Look, was I mad we let him go? No. Not in the slightest.
Yeah.
But...
it just hurts.
I can't watch that.
Yeah. Are we going to talk about the Bills at all or no?
We can.
We probably should, yeah.
For a little bit.
So I was in recruitment for both of those games.
Oh.
So I trust your guys' opinion. I believe in you. I was checking my updates on my Apple Watch in between rounds.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I heard there was a late flag thrown. and then they overturned it.
Oh,
Yeah.
they were gonna call roughing, but
They didn't.
They didn't.
I don't think it was roughing personally. But
Okay.
Was that a first down? Was that a first down?
If they got the roughing,
Did you think that
Allen
got the first down?
It's tough. I don't know. I think he got it by
I do too.
by this much. But it was really, really close. But I don't know. They just didn't make enough plays at the end of the day. I mean, you could say the refs, whatever, but I don't know. Defense didn't make enough stops when it mattered for Buffalo.
Yeah.
And we knew that would be an issue for them. When Benford went out, that's your best corner.
Yeah.
So, Worthy was able to you contained Kelsey. You did a good job, but
At the end of the day,
Yeah.
I mean, no, don't bet against Patrick Mahomes.
yeah,
That's
unfortunately, yeah, it is what it is. I feel so bad for Josh Allen though. I actually feel awful for him.
I was texting with my dad and my brother, and the comparison, they said he's becoming Marino.
Yeah, unfortunately. He's just not going to be able to get past Mahomes unless, I don't know. I thought last year was the year to do it, when they had the home game.
Yeah.
And they lost. And then this year, they obviously look really, really good. They beat Baltimore and stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, I really did think this could have been the year.
Yeah.
Because they looked so good going in.
Yeah, no.
And I mean, just Allen's due for one or two
He
terrible
is.
mistakes.
Yeah, but he hasn't. He took
He
care
really-
of the ball.
He did.
I think he was under 10 turnovers this year.
Oh yeah, 100%. But if he
He
doesn't turn the ball over,
Yeah.
he's still going to make some wild read that ends up being
Yeah, at the beginning of the game, you could tell he was pressing a little bit, but then he got settled in.
Yeah,
So, but hey, nothing you could do.
exactly. I mean,
I don't know if I trust Jalen Hurts though to
That's the thing.
to get the job done. To be completely transparent.
I mean, he played well he played well 2 years ago.
Yeah, I don't know. Because I feel like I don't know, if they can't run the ball, they're gonna have to rely on him to make throw after throw. I mean, he did that in the Super Bowl. He did do that in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But I think Casey's defense is better than the last time.
You have
2 years ago.
That's the one thing. This could very easily be.
I think this is
a defensive.
This is probably their best defense.
I'm not going to say this will be a defensive battle, but you have two top four scoring. You have two top four scoring defenses.
And Fangio, historically, he's done a good job against Mahomes. His defenses, even when he was in Denver, Mahomes would struggle a little bit, but they would just find a way to win.
Yeah.
They have this whole zoom in thing where you can totally tell that he's not across the line.
Oh.
And people are like, how can we do this in soccer but we don't have that for the NFL yet?
Yeah, I know.
Chain gang.
Jane, yeah.
Gotta have an index card.
Raiders, Cowboys, Sunday Night Football.
That is the funniest.
Real ones, remember.
Watch your favorite ESPN Syracuse sports talk shows on QSportsTalk.com. Tomorrow's broadcasting stars today. Broadcasting live from the campus of Syracuse University.
There we go.
This is Newhouse Afternoon.
Welcome back to Newhouse Afternoon. I'm here alongside Matt Lesnick and Izzy Sy, and we're going to be talking a little bit more about the Super Bowl now that was officially decided just a couple days ago. We're going to talk a little bit. The Bills and the Chiefs game ended Sunday night 32-29 in favor of the Chiefs. Guys, what were you seeing from that game? There were a couple calls that people are claiming were missed.
Look, at the end of the day, we can say the refs this, refs that. But even Buffalo will tell you that they just didn't make enough plays to win the game, especially defensively. In the second half, in the third quarter, they did a really good job. They shut out Kansas City, but Patrick Mahomes was able to lead a couple of scoring drives. He had a touchdown on a read option. I don't know the last time I've seen him do that, but they just didn't make enough plays in the game. And, it wasn't their fault. Their defense did have a couple injuries in this game. Christian Benford went out in the first quarter with a concussion. And then offensively to start the game, Josh Allen, you could tell he was really pressing. He almost threw 2 early interceptions. But he really got settled in and was able to, find his guys like Mac Hollins, James Cook, Khalil Shakir. So he was able to really settle in. But Kansas City, this is what they do. They win these close games. They make more plays than you to end the game. And they've been making a living off of that since Mahomes became the starter. And, the Bills, they're right there. It's not like they're 2, 3, 4 pieces away. They're right there. They just need maybe 1 or 2 difference makers on either side of the ball, because Kansas City, they have Mahomes, Kelsey, now Xavier Worthy. They have difference makers on offense, but outside of, Cook and Allen, there's not really that many difference makers. And then if you go on the defensive side of the ball as well, in their secondary, they don't have like those 1 or 2 guys, those dynamic guys that they can rely upon, to get a key pass breakup, to, not bust the coverage. So that's something that they need, and that's something that I'm looking forward for them to do in the offseason.
That was a big concern coming into the season, the lack of weapons. Mm-hmm. And it really didn't cause too much harm. Josh Allen still had an MVP type season, but come the playoffs, when Mac Hollins is your biggest playmaker, you're going to need someone else to take a little bit off of Josh Allen, who, as you mentioned at the beginning of the game, kind of felt a little on edge. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that ever really went away. There was times during the game where he's making reads that I'm kind of just like, what is going on here? Yeah. And that culminated in what should have been a catch by Dawson Knox, but it's still going 20 yards back to make a throw, or excuse me, Dalton Kincaid, to make a throw. That on target, which is very impressive, actually, but still, you shouldn't have to be in a position for that to happen, and it's just they need to figure something out this offseason to kind of just help Josh Allen.
Yeah, and coming into the year, I'm going to be completely honest. I was not that big of a believer in the Bills, and the fact that they went all the way to the AFC Championship game with, a limited supporting cast says a lot about Josh Allen and the year they had. But the Bills, again, coming up short to the Chiefs, but, they just need 1 or 2 more guys on either side of the ball. That's all they need. And, maybe next year this time we're talking about them beating Kansas City. But, if Josh Allen can't do that, we were just talking about this before the break, it seems like he's becoming Dan Marino. He's just not going to be able to win or get over the hump of, beating Patrick Mahomes. And the AFC is only going to get tougher. Joe Burrow is still in the AFC. The Bengals are probably going to be back and healthy next year. Lamar Jackson with the Ravens. CJ Stroud's on the come up. You have younger guys like Drake May and Bo Nix coming up. You still have Justin Herbert is still a threat. There's a lot of different guys that's gonna make the AFC tough. So the Bills, they have to take advantage of Allen's talent and really just build a strong team around him. So maybe next time he can beat Mahomes.
It's arguably the toughest the AFC's ever been in terms of quarterbacks. It's just the fact that they've been able to get to the AFC Championship this many,
exactly
3 times. At this point? Two or three times.
2 times. Yeah.
It's really. And the Chiefs are still going. They've made it 5, 6 straight years.
7 straight.
7 straight years. Excuse me.
It's ridiculous. I know.
It's just they need to figure out a way to just maximize, like you mentioned, like you said, maximize his talents. This is one of the most physically gifted quarterbacks, if not the most physically gifted quarterback we've ever seen.
Yeah.
And
there's only a couple of guys I can think of.
Cam Newton is
but even then, I think Allen's
arm
better.
Wipes Newton's away.
Exactly.
You need to get him over the hump at some point before, because look, the way he plays, there's bound to be an injury at some point. I hate to say it, but this is a guy who plays with a lot of physicality. You got to do it before his body starts to break down.
Exactly. But at least they have a solid run game now with James Cook. I feel like, in my opinion, a top 5 running back in the NFL. So continue to build off of that next season for him, and just get a couple playmakers on offense.
Definitely. So we're going to turn the tide. We're going to switch coasts a little bit here and head to the NFC, where the Commanders lost to the Eagles 55-23, a 78-point game there. And a lot of people were looking at the Commanders, especially after kind of a defining win over the Lions just last week. They kind of fell apart there, didn't they, Izzy?
Yeah, and look, from the first, the Commanders, they came out, they went on a 15-16 play drive to get that field goal. So I was like, okay, so maybe they can move the ball up and down the field. And then not even like 30 seconds later, Saquon Barkley. You look up, Saquon Barkley's, dancing into the end zone. Like, it just seems like every week we're looking at Saquon Barkley going for at least 60, 70, 80, even maybe 90-yard touchdown runs. The guy's just been sensational. And, he had his bad luck. Sorry, Matt. With the Giants, to begin his career. So it's good to see him finally, in a winning situation for the first time in his career. And now he's in the Super Bowl. And, Saquon, he's in the MVP conversation. He's had an amazing playoff run. And, the Eagles, their run game looks pretty unstoppable right now. And they can give the Chiefs problems.
I don't think I've ever seen in my lifetime a run game. Look, we started to really watch football as the pass game transformation really started to blow up. And I don't think I've ever seen a run game in my lifetime that has been as explosive as the Eagles and Saquon Barkley have been. And of course, you get a lot of extra freedom when you have a quarterback like Jalen Hurts who can run himself.
Yeah, opens up the RPO and everything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it's first off, bad luck. Yes, he had his injuries. The management of the New York Giants was so bad they just didn't build an offensive line around him.
The quarterback as well.
Yeah. 1 season, I'll take it. But it just shows the impact he really can have when he gets that line, and just he has transformed this Eagles offense. I mean, at the end of last year, I felt a lot of Eagles fans were just. They had no optimism regarding this team. I mean, they didn't like Sirianni. They felt maybe some questions about Jalen Hurts, the defense.
They had Kelsey retire as well.
But first off, Cam Jurgens comes in.
Yeah,
it's like there's nothing different.
Yeah. And he didn't even play against the Commanders.
Yeah.
He barely played against the Commanders, and they were still able to run the ball at will. But going to Washington just very quickly before we talk about the Super Bowl, Jaden Daniels.
What a season.
It's crazy. It's crazy to say after last year that this is probably the greatest rookie season we've ever seen from a quarterback. It's after the year C.J. Stroud had last year, and then a year later we're talking about somebody that did it even better than him, taking the Commanders from 4-13 to the NFC Championship, albeit we don't know how much of that is of Dan Snyder leaving and all that bad juju, all that stuff leaving, and bringing in new ownership. But in all seriousness, Jaden Daniels, amazing year, and this is his first year starting, and the Commanders Super Bowl window is wide open for the next 10, maybe even 15 years.
They've got a ton of cap space. They've got good draft capital.
Exactly.
They're going to build upon the foundation that Dan Quinn and Adam Peters have laid out. And I'm looking, as a Giants fan, I'm not looking forward to it, but as a football fan, I'm really looking forward to seeing what this team can build.
Yeah, and he was great against the Eagles, 29-48, 255 yards and a touchdown, but they just didn't take care of the ball. They had 4 turnovers, 3 of them fumbles, and key fumbles in bad areas of the field that gave the Eagles short fields and taking advantage and scoring touchdowns. But I was excited from what I saw from Daniels. I'm excited for what he has for his career, and the Commanders, they have nothing to hang their heads about. The Eagles, they've been one of the better teams in the NFC all season. They haven't lost at home since September, so it was going to be a tough game no matter what. And when you have to worry about 26 on the other side, there's not a lot you can do. So
definitely a great way to kind of finish that season out, especially when no one was really looking forward to it. I want to ask you guys though, what was your dream Super Bowl matchup?
My dream Super Bowl matchup,
at least for this season.
For this season, my team was never gonna make it. I would have loved going into the season. I'm not gonna lie. I would have loved to see the Bills make it. I bought into the Jets hype going into the season. I really did.
Yeah.
And I was so wrong.
Yeah.
So
not the only one.
I would have loved to see the Jets.
Yeah, I'm a Lamar guy. I would have loved to see the Ravens in the Super Bowl. I really thought that they were going to get to the Super Bowl this year, and then Mark Andrews just.
Oh yeah.
But no, I really would have. I would have liked to see Ravens Lions. Honestly, I thought that would have been a great Super Bowl matchup. Both explosive offenses, both explosive run games. That would have been a great game to see. But obviously, both teams came up short in the divisional round. But those teams, again, they're going to be around for the next few years. They have solid quarterback play. They have good running backs. Great coaching staff, so I expect them both, to be back there at some point.
Yeah, we're getting a bit of a rematch from February 12th, 2023 with the Kansas City Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles going head-to-head on February 9th. To prepare you guys, though, I have brought some trivia questions. It's all about the Super Bowl teams, records, interesting facts. So I'm going to ask you guys a couple of questions here, and I want you to give me your best guess as to what you think it is.
All right, let's go.
Where did the name for the Super Bowl come from?
Oh, I feel like I know
I
this.
should know this. I definitely knew this when I was like 10.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. I don't know.
I have no
I'm
idea.
forgetting.
You have
I'm
no
forgetting.
idea?
Yeah.
The NFL and the AFL merged, and the NFL Championship
yeah.
game became the Super Bowl. It was inspired by the name of a children's toy called Super Ball.
Oh wow.
Oh, actually,
Yes.
I didn't know that.
I did not.
I
I did not know that about the. I knew the merger. Didn't know like the
I
toy.
didn't- yeah, that's
part.
what I'm-
Damn.
The
Okay.
name was coined by AFL founder Lamar Hunt.
Oh,
So,
okay,
super
so-
fun.
Yeah.
Chiefs owner.
Chiefs
All right,
owner.
all right.
It's
You
only
guys-
fitting that they're back in the.
Yeah, no, definitely. You guys look like you go to the gym a lot, so you'll probably be able to guess this one. But how much does the Lombardi Trophy weigh?
I think it's like what? It's definitely over like 30, 40.
It's got to be. Yeah,
I'm gonna say 40 pounds.
35.
7 pounds.
7 pounds.
7 pounds.
Really?
Yes.
That's it?
Yes. It's
Dang.
created by Tiffany & Co. Stands about 22 inches tall and weighs about 7 pounds.
I thought it was. I thought it
never
weighed a lot, like a lot more than that. Wow. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
way
I
off.
could probably curl that too. So don't worry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. What teams have the most Super Bowl wins?
Most Super Bowl wins.
Patriots and Steelers.
Patriots and Steelers, right?
Steelers and the Patriots are tied with 6
Yeah,
wins each so far. We may see the Chiefs add to that very,
And after that's like
soon.
Dallas, right? San Francisco.
Dallas, San Francisco,
And
Giants at 4, Packers at 4.
yeah, so yeah, there's a bunch of teams with 4.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
all mostly tied there.
Yeah.
We'll see it. We'll see them soon.
Mm-hmm.
Who has the most Super Bowl defeats?
Broncos.
Yes, Broncos.
And there's one more team on there.
Ooh, AFC or NFC?
AFC.
AFC.
It's 6. I know it's 6.
Buffalo.
Buffalo's
No,
got 4.
they got 4. They only got the 4, right? No, not don't. Yeah,
It's a team you wouldn't expect to have that many.
really.
Yes.
Okay. It's not. Nah, they've been to a lot of Super Bowls though. Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh? Is that your final guess?
Patriots too. No.
It's not Miami, is it?
It's not Miami. It's not Pittsburgh.
All right, final guess. Throw it to
I'll
me.
just throw Pittsburgh out there.
I'll
They've been
throw
to
the
a ton of Super
Patriots out
Bowls.
there.
It's the New England Patriots.
Patriots?
They both have 5 losses.
Dang.
Which, yes, I feel like no one would ever expect that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, for our last question before we head into the break, what teams have never made it to the Super Bowl?
Oh, the Texans.
Jaguars.
Panthers made the
Panthers
Super
have
Bowl.
Texans, Jaguars, Browns, and Lions.
There you go.
Yes. Yeah.
That point goes to Matt. All right, we're going to take a quick break right here, but when we come back, the Syracuse football schedule just came out, and Kyle McCord's draft stock may be going up as he enters the postseason. We'll be right back. You're listening to Newhouse Afternoon on ESPN Radio.
Hey, this is former Syracuse basketball.
All right, we're only talking about the football schedule, or are we talking about something else? Or McCord, right?
We can talk a little bit about McCord, yeah.
Yeah.
McCord, Meeks has been doing well too,
Yeah.
and that's pretty much it.
Also, just tell me when to shut up. I can't hear them.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll just basically say, like, what do you think is an easy win? What is going to be like the most devastating loss? I'll ask about UNC because that's a
That'll be
Halloween Friday night game
Against Belichick.
against Belichick.
Yeah, if he's still there, who knows? Nah, he'll be there. But he only got a $1 million buyout, so
I think he'll be there for at least a year.
I do too.
It's just
Yeah.
I know there's spots open on NFL teams right now, but just not anything that I see him.
yeah. There's
going
only one
to.
job. There's only one head coaching job that needs to be filled.
yeah, I don't see
who
him.
wants to go to the Saints? Kellen Moore, I guess.
Kellen Moore.
Mike McCarthy.
Apparently McCarthy ain't going well though.
Yeah, but they wanna interview him again. I think, from what I saw. Yeah.
Oh, we actually have October home games.
I know. I'm so excited. I can actually go to them this year.
Exactly.
Wait, who are we playing in October?
Pitt on October 18th, and then UNC on Halloween.
Ooh.
So yeah, it's a big break between each home game, but
Okay.
Still, it's
yeah. It's better than whatever this past season
Yeah.
was. Oh my gosh. And yeah, no Stanford, no Cal,
Yeah.
which I was a little surprised about. But also
SMU's
not.
your farthest.
Yeah, and then Duke is just
Duke. That I don't know about that game. I'm scared 'cause with the transfer at QB. I'm scared of that team.
Which team?
Duke.
Duke. Yeah. Malik Murphy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who was that? They just got a transfer.
Oh, they got another transfer. Duke. Hold on.
From Tulane.
Oh yeah. He was like the. Hold on. No. I'm gonna find his name now. QB.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Darren
Mensa.
Mensa. Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah.
$8 million.
Yeah. Why couldn't we do that?
I mean, we did.
No, yeah. No, I'm saying like for this
year.
for this coming season. Yeah, I know we already did it with McCord, but why couldn't we do it again? No, yeah, Mensa's really good.
Like, that scares me.
Yeah, he's really good, dude. No, just the Tennessee to open the season is really blowing me right now.
Yeah,
bro.
I know.
that is not that's not a neutral site
why?
game.
Like, why? Like, there's basically, dude, that's gonna be a home game for them. Basically, Georgia's not that far from Tennessee, too.
Exactly. That's not a neutral site game. That's
it's
basically a Tennessee home game.
Yeah, and like no one from upstate New York's gonna go all the way to Atlanta. I don't know, man. I believe in Ricky Collins, though. I believe.
Yeah,
I believe.
Look, he was a 4-star recruit.
Nah, I believe. He'll Heisman season, loading.
From your mouth.
Yeah. Hey, they got to put positive reinforcement out there.
Exactly.
You know. Yeah.
Their first time playing Tennessee in
Notre
like 24
Dame.
years or something like
exactly.
that.
And then Notre Dame in November.
That's insane. Miami, Notre Dame back-to-back is both on the road.
Yeah.
Bye week in between, but
Yeah.
oh my
Still.
God, that's still.
That's insane. Then Boston College in the season. They low-key own us, though. So
Yeah, last 2 games.
That's going to be a core memory of mine. Freshman year.
just sitting there?
Watching
Oh
that
my.
football game. 17-10.
That was.
I never forget it.
We just like.
I don't know why we stayed the
We
whole
should
time.
not have
we
stayed.
We should have left after the first quarter. That was so bad. Del Rio Wilson was starting. Oh my. He was like 26 or something, whatever, something crazy. Oh man.
That was a game.
Yeah.
Let me cough now.
Dang, Clemson. Yeah, what? This is a Clemson, Duke, SMU back-to-back-to-back. Dang. Okay.
ESPN 97.7 and 100.1. Watch live on QSportsTalk.com. Tomorrow's broadcasting stars today. Broadcasting live from the campus of Syracuse University. This is Newhouse Afternoon.
Welcome back to Newhouse Afternoon. Brooke Kilgore joined along by Matt Lesnick and Izzy Sy. Guys, the football schedule was just released yesterday, and there's a lot on here, a schedule that may prove to be a little harder than a lot of people were expecting. We got that neutral site game against Tennessee on August 30th, and this is the first time these two teams have played each other in a while, but as we were discussing, Izzy was saying, this is not really a neutral site if you think about it too hard.
It's not, and I don't know who decided that we should have an SEC favorite as our first game of the season, and one of the Heisman favorites for next year, Nico. I can't say his last name, but he's really, really good. But yeah, you have Tennessee neutral site. You have Clemson on the road. You have Duke at home, who just got Darian Mensah, one of the better passers in the nation in the transfer portal. Then you have SMU, who's just in the college football playoff. And then in November, you have the road game against Miami, and then you have another road game against Notre Dame after that. This is a gauntlet of a schedule, and this is not like in last year's team. We're losing a lot of guys. McCord's in the draft. Quinn Allen's in the draft. Ronde Gadsden's gone.
Jackson Meeks
is gone. So that's a lot of offensive contributors that you're losing. And even on the defensive side, Fadil Diggs, Marlo Wax, all of these guys, we're losing a lot on both sides of the ball. And obviously, Fran Brown, he's bringing in a solid recruiting class. He's going to bring in more transfers, so we've hired him for this reason. Hired him because he can bring and attract talent. And, he's done a good job of that. And I don't doubt that he won't do that. But, man, he has his work cut out for him in year 2 after a successful year 1.
So I have to ask you guys, I want to go through a couple of games. I want to hear at least your best score prediction and what we can kind of see coming out of that. So we can start with Tennessee. I feel like that's the obvious one that we have to go to. Matt, what are you thinking?
This could be bad. This could be a blowout. I could see it being like like 31, like 10 Tennessee. I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it's a multiple possession game too. I think score prediction at this point in time is hard, but I don't right now I don't see how we beat Tennessee. Like they're going to be really really good. They were just in the playoff this past season. They're returning starting quarterback. Their defense is still going to be really really good. They're going to be one of the better teams, one of the more elite teams in the SEC next year, in my opinion. So, yeah, it's going to be a tough first game right out the gate.
All right. So you guys have seen Fran Brown's little countdown to Tennessee clock thing. All right. So they're preparing, they're prepping, but as you said, a lot of guys leaving, some guys declaring for the draft that maybe some of us weren't really expecting. LeQuint, yes, I know he has his eyes set on going out there, but I was definitely persuaded that he would have a little bit more time here at Syracuse, and that was a really interesting
I was a little surprised, especially with how strong this running back class is. I mean, I don't know how early he could even go.
Yeah, but I feel like he could still be a mid-round pick or a priority undrafted free agent. That's probably what he was looking at. I wasn't too surprised that he declared, especially he had a good year. He had a really solid year.
Really good year.
So, he put a lot of positive tape out there, so he just took his chance on the league. So, I wasn't really surprised that he declared. All
right. We're going to change over to another foe in orange, Saturday, September 20th at Clemson. I don't know about you guys, but I do feel like Clemson is our unmarked, untrademarked rival in some opinion. What are you guys seeing from that game?
I think, they're bringing back Klubnik. They were just in the playoff again last year. They only got it because they won the ACC championship. There was a lot of debate on whether or not they were a playoff team, but they played well against Texas. Outside of a few goal line miscues, they really kept the game close. It's going to be another tough opponent. Clemson's going to be one of the ACC favorites again for the millionth time under Dabo Swinney. So it's going to be a tough game. But we've always played Clemson close outside of 2 years ago when they came to the Dome and beat us by, I believe, 2 or 3 touchdowns, whatever. 31.
31-14.
Yeah, 31-14, something like that. So, but then the couple years before that with Eric Dungy, went to Death Valley, almost won that game. Maybe we'll get a little bit of luck from that Syracuse team, but realistically speaking, I don't know how that'll be close either.
Yeah, I'm hoping that this is a close game. Maybe they can pull out a win, but you're going to Death Valley.
Yeah, not to be like a negative, person about the Syracuse football team, especially considering how great of a year they had. Getting to 10 wins and things of that nature, but they're losing a lot of talent, and when you lose a lot of talent, the transition year is expected, and that's just the reality of the situation.
I want to throw it back to Tennessee for just a couple minutes. When people are talking about the DirecTV Holiday Bowl, a lot of people wanted us to take on an SEC opponent, someone probably not going to be Tennessee at all, but someone maybe like Florida, just to see if we could even play against them. And I mean, this is going to be a big test just to see, but do you think Fran Brown's squad is really going to hold up against an SEC opponent?
And he comes from the SEC, so he knows what it takes to beat SEC teams and how they're built. So using that knowledge, I feel like will help a lot. But it's going to be a tough test no matter what.
Yeah.
Because SEC is a top 2 conference in college football.
This whole schedule is just making me.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, it's overwhelming. So then we play here home at Duke against Duke on Saturday, September 27th, and then we're on the road at SMU. And I know that was kind of a bit of a conversation between you two earlier. What are you seeing, Matt?
I mean, to that Duke game, that scares me. You're getting an $8 million transfer. He's going to be a good player.
Shout out Duke pouring money into football now.
Yeah.
I mean, look, they
don't want anybody in the ACC to have anything. Yes. Yeah.
No, they can't. I mean, but that game, it's at home, but that scares me. That's I'm not going to call it a trap game because you're going against Clemson the week before, but that's maybe we're coming home, maybe we can get an easy win. No, that's going to be a tough game that I can see them pulling out, but that's still like a very tough team coming off a very good season, Duke also.
Yeah, and that's 2 weeks in a row where you're playing one of the more elite quarterbacks in the ACC, or projected elite quarterbacks in the ACC. You have Mensa for Duke, and then you have Kevin Jennings the week after that. And, he had a great year. He wasn't even the starter for SMU, but now heading into 2025, he is the clear guy for SMU, and, he could even be a dark horse Heisman guy. I think we can see him in those conversations, but the quarterback gauntlet that you're going to have to go through throughout the year. Klubnik, Nico for Tennessee, you have Mensa, you have Jennings, so those, and whatever you feel about Carson Beck, he's a good college quarterback as well, so those are the guys that you're going to have to go through to win.
Coming up for the final question, I mean, we're just going to look at this Pitt game and assume we're going to lose that, honestly. Like, after last season, I'm just going to assume Pitt is a loss for us. But a game that's pulling a lot of attention, that Friday, October 31st, happy Halloween, UNC game. Bill Belichick will be coming to the Dome. For our last question here, guys, are you guys excited? Are you guys going to be there for that game?
That'll be a fun game. I mean,
well, considering we haven't had an October game in 2 years,
I
will be there. But yeah, UNC, relying on Belichick to, bring juice back to the program. Mac Brown, had a little bit of a run there, but, obviously him and,
replace one 73-year-old coach with another. I mean,
exactly. Not exactly a youth movement in North Carolina, but, Belichick, again, one of the greatest NFL coaches, if not the greatest NFL coach of all time. How long he stays at UNC, we don't know, but I assume he'll be there for Halloween. But yeah, no, excited for that game, and see the Dome on a Friday night. It'll be fire.
And we know how much Bill loves Halloween.
Yeah, we do. So,
all right. So to kind of close out here, what are your final record predictions looking at this? I know we don't have the team set. We're still waiting on some spring transfers, but what are you guys seeing as our final record?
At best, I can see like 6-6.
At best.
I'm gonna be honest. This is a rough schedule.
Yeah.
Like I trust me. I believe in Fran Brown. I think he's a premier coach at this, even after one season. But this is going to be a season where you're losing a lot of guys.
Yeah.
It's going to be a rebuilding year. You can have easy wins like UConn, Colgate. You probably can pull off a Georgia Tech on the road win. You can hopefully get Boston College for once.
Yeah, Pitt too. I hope we can get Pitt.
Hopefully you can get Pitt. They're coming back to the Dome this time. I mean, you beat them 2 years ago, but this could be a really rough season.
I think best case 7-5. I think worst case like 3-9. I think that, but I'll take if 500 or better. With this schedule,
it's a bowl game.
I'll take that. 2 bowl seasons in a row. Yeah, it's a good start to Fran Brown's tenure. All
right, well, that has been our time here on Newhouse Afternoon for Izzy Sy, Matt Lesnick, and Brooke Kilgore. That has been our time. The Sports Show with Cody Mack is next. Thanks for tuning in.
This is Orange Nation.